Albert Schweitzer was a very kind and smart man. He was born on January 14, 1875, in a small town in Germany. His family was not rich, but they loved books and learning. Albert was a curious child. He liked to ask many questions. He wanted to know how things worked and why things happened. His parents encouraged him to read and study. They wanted him to grow up to be a good person. Albert was also very interested in music. He learned to play the piano and the organ when he was very young. He practiced a lot and became very good at it. People loved to hear him play. Music made him happy, and he believed it could make other people happy too. When Albert was older, he went to school to study many different things. He studied philosophy, which is about thinking deeply about life. He also studied theology, which is about religion and God. Albert was very smart, and he worked hard. He became a teacher and a preacher. He taught people about religion and music. He also wrote books about his ideas. But Albert wanted to do more. He wanted to help people in a big way. He read about Africa and the people there who were sick and poor. He decided to become a doctor so he could go to Africa and help them. This was a big decision. He had to study medicine for many years. But Albert was determined. He worked hard and became a doctor. In 1913, Albert went to Africa. He went to a place called Gabon, which was a French colony at that time. He built a hospital in a small village called La Marine. The hospital was very simple. It was made of wood and had only a few rooms. But it was a place where sick people could come and get help. Albert worked very hard. He treated people with diseases like malaria and leprosy. He also helped women give birth to babies. He did everything he could to make people feel better. Life in Africa was not easy. The weather was hot and humid. There were many insects like mosquitoes that carried diseases. Albert often worked long hours. He was tired, but he never gave up. He believed that his work was important. He wanted to help as many people as he could. Albert also continued to play music. He brought a piano with him to Africa. He played it to relax and to bring joy to the people around him. He believed that music could heal the soul. He even played for his patients. They loved to hear him play. It made them feel happy and hopeful. Albert Schweitzer was not just a doctor. He was also a philosopher. He had a special idea called reverence for life. This means that all life is precious and should be respected. Albert believed that every living thing, from people to animals to plants, deserves care and kindness. He tried to live by this idea every day. He was kind to everyone he met. He treated his patients with love and respect. He also cared for the animals around him. He believed that by helping others, he was making the world a better place. Albert's work in Africa was not always easy. There were many challenges. Sometimes there was not enough medicine or food. Sometimes the hospital was very crowded. But Albert never gave up. He kept working hard. He believed that even small acts of kindness could make a big difference. During World War I, Albert and his wife were taken as prisoners by the French because they were German. They were sent to a camp in France. Life in the camp was hard. But Albert did not stop helping people. He treated other prisoners who were sick. He also continued to think about his ideas. He wrote more books about philosophy and religion. After the war, Albert returned to Africa. He rebuilt his hospital and continued his work. Over the years, the hospital grew. More doctors and nurses came to help. They treated thousands of patients. Albert became famous for his work. People from all over the world admired him. They sent him money and supplies to help his hospital. Albert Schweitzer received many awards for his work. In 1952, he won the Nobel Peace Prize. This is a very important award given to people who work for peace and help others. Albert used the money from the prize to build a special village for people with leprosy. He wanted to give them a safe and happy place to live. Albert Schweitzer worked in Africa for many years. He never stopped helping people. Even when he was old, he continued to work at the hospital. He believed that his life had a purpose. He wanted to make the world a better place. He died in 1965, but his work and his ideas live on. Albert Schweitzer was a great man. He was a doctor, a musician, a philosopher, and a kind human being. He showed us that one person can make a big difference in the world. He taught us to respect all life and to help others whenever we can. His life is an example of love, kindness, and hard work. We can all learn from his story and try to be a little more like him. Albert's hospital in La Marine became a symbol of hope and care. People from nearby villages would travel for days to reach the hospital. They knew that Dr. Schweitzer would help them, no matter how sick they were. Albert treated everyone the same, whether they were rich or poor, young or old. He believed that every person deserved to be treated with dignity. Sometimes, the hospital ran out of supplies, but Albert never turned anyone away. He would find a way to help, even if it meant working late into the night. Albert also cared deeply for the environment. He believed that humans should live in harmony with nature. He planted trees around the hospital and encouraged people to take care of the land. He taught his patients about the importance of clean water and healthy food. Albert knew that a healthy environment was important for a healthy life. He wanted to protect the forests and rivers of Africa for future generations. Albert Schweitzer was not just a doctor. He was also a teacher. He trained local people to work at the hospital. He taught them how to care for patients and how to use medicine. Many of these people became nurses and assistants. They helped Albert run the hospital and care for the sick. Albert believed that education was very important. He wanted the people of Africa to have the knowledge and skills to improve their lives. Albert's work inspired many people around the world. Doctors, nurses, and volunteers came to La Marine to help him. They came from Europe, America, and other parts of Africa. They wanted to learn from Albert and support his mission. Together, they built a larger hospital with more rooms and better equipment. They also built a school and a church for the community. Albert's dream of helping others grew bigger and bigger. Even though Albert was very busy, he always found time to write. He wrote books about his experiences in Africa and his ideas about life. He wrote about the importance of kindness, love, and respect. His books were read by people all over the world. They inspired many to think about how they could help others. Albert's words touched the hearts of millions. Albert Schweitzer's life was not easy, but it was full of meaning. He faced many challenges, but he never lost hope. He believed that every person could make a difference. He showed us that even small acts of kindness can change the world. Albert's legacy lives on in the hospital he built, the people he helped, and the ideas he shared. He will always be remembered as a man who dedicated his life to helping others and making the world a better place.